mentioned. So, I had this idea a couple months ago to, and some of you have already, maybe already caught this kind of game, already caught this whole spiel, but I wanted to build an app that acted as a bit of a window into what's happening at City Hall. What people are voting on, what kind of motions are being passed, who's voting for them, who's voting against them. I feel as though a lot of people, you get about half the city out to vote for a councillor, and the number of people that know what happens after that is really low. So you see things in Toronto Star, and you maybe see something on Twitter, like on Teal Colony or whatever, but how much you really know about what's actually happening. So I decided, okay, well that's something I want to build an app. Toronto is a world-class city, and we've probably got some kind of open data thing happening, right? That's cool. So I'm nosing on over to the Toronto City Data Portal, which looks kind of like this. And you're looking at what kind of things are going to be, or what have been voted on. So this is our, where are we? Yeah, our most recent meeting before they went into summer break. So we've got July 7th, 8th, and 9th. So this is how you go through and actually see all of the different motions that were either adopted, amended, some of them have failed to various degrees. And as you can see, it's not really the most user-friendly. It's really confusing. There's a lot of nice political jargon and whatever in there. And more importantly, like accessing this on phone, even getting, like I loaded this up before you guys got here, but getting to this page, I forget how to do it every time. Like I use the internet every single day for work, and I do not know how to get to this page. I can't tell you how to get to it. I just magically got here. It's cumbersome. So the idea was, if we can get this into something a little bit more, relatable for people and something that they're used to interacting with. And this front end that you're looking at here is not really designed at this point. This is just using some basic Google design framework. And yeah, it's really, really simple. Like all we have right now are motions, counselors with nice little squished images, and we have a way to relate those motions and counselors together, and we have like some word information, which I haven't really quite got a nice little view for each of those guys yet. But anyway, this is a basic front end that we're kind of working on that we hope to deliver in the form of a mobile app to Android and iOS users later this year. So in building this, there's important context all this across. In building this, we realized, if we're going to be parsing all this data, if we're going to be getting all this data and trying to get it into a nice, relatable kind of database model, why should we do that and just keep it for ourselves? This seems really silly. Because lots of people come across this struggle all the time when they want to work with any kind of City Hall data. So what we decided to do is we decided to build an API. And we build APIs for lots of our clients. A lot of our clients need like a full end-to-end solution. So this is pretty common practice for us, but it's not common practice for me. I'm a front-end developer by trade. I've been very interested in getting more into building APIs and building out like the full stack of things. So this is kind of a baby project for me, and I'm pretty excited about it. The reason why we are building an API and making it available in this kind of way is because what we really want is to take data that's right now existing in a few different formats and kind of pull it all together and make it nice and build some documentation for it and help people understand the way it relates and why it exists the way it does. Why are we pulling from a couple different data sources? So, as you can see, in this format, even if you're not a developer, like conceptualizing how to take this and get this into an app is difficult at best. So what we're actually doing is there is a group, an organization on GitHub actually called Open Civic Data, and they exist more than just on GitHub, but they act as a Canadian, Open Civic Data is actually an American organization that has been essentially trying to do what I am talking about right now, which is, okay, we have all these different municipalities, states, and federal governments that have websites and open data, or maybe they don't have any whatsoever. But a lot of them are posting these kinds of things like agendas and voting records and attendance, things like that. And they're posting in some kind of format, whether it's a PDF, a CSV, some kind of weird table like you just saw. And they're all there, but they're all different. And they might be designed by someone like nephew, or they might be professionally developed in some cases, but they're not standardized. So how do we take all those things and standardize them and get them into like a central repository that everyone can access? Well, that's what they've done. So if you go to Civic Data, you can actually see all the different repositories that they have here. So like all the U.S. municipal repositories, they have U.S. federal, and we have some Canadian legislative ones that are all kind of lumped together. Now, Open Civic Data has a partner, and they're based out of Montreal called Open North, you might have heard of them. And they're maintaining all the Canadian scrapers right now. Long story short, we're using one of these scrapers, this little guy, Toronto, and we're using it to get information about people and information about bills. Because those are the scrapers that have been written right now, and I don't know a lot of Python yet, so I haven't written any myself. But the general concept for this is that we're using this to pull the bills, and then we can actually get everything else from a nice little service called Namara that we've worked with before. And a long story short is that these guys are also working to try and get these things synthesized and into nice little JSON APIs. So you can feel free to check them out. Yeah, they don't have this data set available right now. Big times during the summer break as well. But we're getting some word information and various other things from these guys. So we're actually pulling, we created a new API project that is pulling from Namara, which serves as nice things over like a JSON kind of interface. And then we're pulling stuff from running our own scrapers for from Open Civic Data, and we need to get them all in one kind of model where they relate to each other, right? So you have people, those people are voting on bills, and those bills are part of agendas that happen at certain times, and all these things kind of need to relate, so that we can end up with something like this, where when we expand on this, we know, and like, kind of see right now how I'm starting to kind of populate this. Like we have like a title, we have like a unique ID for each bill, we know what term it happened during, etc. And once we start populating like the voting results from all these guys, then we're able to start relating them, and then you kind of get like a nice thing where you can show all the latest things that Rob Ford has voted on, and all the latest things that Paul Easley has voted on, and kind of get an understanding of like, once you vote this person in, what are they doing with the vote that you've essentially given them on all these items? So yeah, the API it's young right now. It's built on a really interesting framework called Sales, and what Sales allows you to do is exactly what the struggle is, which is you've got multiple databases. They might be of different types. Some of them might be Postgres, some of them might be Redis. Like
SAILS.
SAILS, yeah, it's kind of a play on of Rails, and I'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, sales is a really, just to get a little bit technical here for a sec, if any of you have built APIs in Node before using Express, sales is kind of like a much more structured way to build your Express application. So sales is it really uses a Rails approach to building a full web application. And in doing that, it does a lot of really nice things for you. It gives you the ability to define, like, these are all of our different data models that we have. And, I mean, we're eventually going to have users of the API as well, so that's why they're there. But you can see, like, for emotion, we're actually actually just mapping all of these things to columns that are represented in the database that's created by Scraper. And then what you can do is you can actually relate. I'll show you a quick example, like a relation of the counselor to a ward. So this is our counselor. He's got an email. We've actually got lots of cool stuff on counselors, so let me show that real quick. Another motion. One isn't that exciting, but for counselors, we've got everything from their email to their handles if we have them, to like a little bio, and also you see here the word relation. So, and this is actually for the next guy. So if I do, someone give me a word number. What's your favorite word? 18. 18? I used to live in Canada actually. I was in 7 words. I was in 17. So, oh shoot, I'm going to reverse related right now. That's not that. So for 18, what is it? It's Caesar, Lasha? It's Ballet, that's right. So you can see for her, it's my word. Counselor. Pardon me? It's my word. That's your word? How do you feel about your counselor? She's okay. She's okay? How do you feel about the little T-Mac thing? You heard about that? No. Okay, well, we'll get into that in a second. Uh-oh. I don't hate Ken Valley, but there's some things that I really don't like her for. I think she's sincere. She's trying. I mean, that's more than some people can say, so that's good. So yeah, so basically what we've got is we've just got a counselor model that has all this data that's been pulled from the City Council portal, and then we're actually relating that person to a ward. So you see all these numbers here that don't really mean anything. Those are actually coordinates, like GPS coordinates, that actually map out the ward. So we actually have all the ward like geometric data, and then we have the counselors related to all of those wards. And the point of all of this is like this app is going to show you timely information based on bills and how they've been voted on and things like that. But it's also going to provide you some information about the different wards. So all these things, were kind of made available in the last census, and God knows when we'll have another one. But as a Toronto City Hall staffer, cross-referenced the 2011 census with all of the Toronto City wards. So you can actually get all the demographic data for all these wards. We've got it all in a nice little format, and it's just another part of the equation that we got hooked up to this little interface, this API that we're building. So if you want to know why, for example, okay, why is Ward 2 voting like entirely against like anything cycling related? It's like, well, maybe no one rides a bike in this ward. It's or you look at like income disparity and a lot of these different attributes that all affects the types of counselors that get voted in and why they're there in the first place.
So can you pull up agenda items or past pieces of legislation that relate to cycling? Do you have a taxonomy?
So the way that things are currently being, the things that we're currently getting are, that we can kind of sort by, are the type of the committee that brought the agenda item in. So depending on how much you guys know about City Hall, like things that end up in City Council that are being voted on, they might not necessarily have been started from a City Council session, right? So they can actually be voting on agenda items that got kind of ascended into place there from another committee. So they all have different committee codes. So the committee codes are one way we can relate. There's a few other different things that are not being brought in right now, but that can be. And that's just a matter of amending the scraper. So one of the things that this project actually really needs right now, we had a guy, but he's in California and doing all kinds of different things right now. He's a very intense civic hacker guy, but he's hard to pin down. He was working with us a bit on getting a lot of these scrapers started, and he's actually the person who informed me about Open Civic Data in the first place, which was awesome. But yeah, so he knew some Python, and he was kind of helping us. He was actually working on amending the Toronto scraper. The Toronto scraper doesn't have a lot going for it right now. It really just has bills, and that is about it. So, and even then, as you can see, like the actual data that it has on these bills, it hasn't got the full agenda item. improvements to the scrapers that do need to happen. When that does happen, we will have more things that we can kind of relate and be able to sort and filter through all of these things. One of the biggest struggles with all of this is again, like what I touched on before, just the nature in which they're written is very inaccessible for most people, and it's also very long, and it includes all the amendments, and these things that councilors sit in meetings for hours, kind of mulling over. Is because like a lot of them are very long and again not accessible. So one of the biggest struggles with kind of creating an interface in which people like can get to something that they would actually want to read is how do you filter and sort and kind of group these things together so that they kind of make sense. And we're looking at different ways to do that. Still making it a lot easier to be able to do things like that, especially within the way that it defines models. Like you don't necessarily need to have a table in a database that backs up a model. Like a model can actually be like a pseudo model that is comprised of elements from two different things spanning across multiple databases. So it gives us a few different abilities there. But this is no simple project. Ultimate goal of this project is to get this baby publicly staged and to write up some nice documentation for it, get some kind of free access key thing going for it, and maybe like a small website explaining what it is, and get that live for this fall. And the idea behind that is if we do that, I feel like we'll be helping a lot of other people who are spinning their wheels trying to get access to this kind of data.
Just a quick question, because I've been in this space for a number of years. Started Project Citizen Bridge, which was this exact same thing, but to the federal information. You mentioned Open North, they did mycityhall.ca, and I'm familiar with it. A lot of these projects seem to fall flat often. I'm just sort of wondering, what your hopes are, or are you going to be planning to do things differently, perhaps, or have you learned lessons from Open North or anything along those lines? Because they tried to do this a couple of years ago. I don't heard anything back.
Yeah. So that's a good question, and we get that question a lot. Actually, that's actually one of the first things that yeah.
It's a
really good question. No, it's a really good question. It's something I've thought about. And it's like, who is this guy? I went to Toronto 4.5 years ago. What investment do I have in Toronto?
That's not my question, though.
No, I understand. I'm just giving some.
I welcome you to Toronto.
So, yeah, Open North actually shares the same. They almost discouraged us at first when we started building this, which was surprising. But a lot of people have tried this. A lot of people have not really kept up on it. A lot of people are also trying to do everything. So you look at what Open North was doing with these scrapers, and this Toronto one. I really don't know how much further they're going to take it themselves. But it's open source. Someone can submit a pull request against it and keep it updated. As long as people are out there that care, I believe that as long as you provide a way for them to do it, there is a way for them to keep things going. And I don't care where I live in the next 10 years. I will be sitting here with an eye on this repository, and even if I'm not actively developing it, it's open source. People can go to town. And I'm gonna as soon as we're in a space where we are at a place where we have this mature enough to be able to show it to people. You guys are getting a real small sneak peek, but as soon as we have it at a mature enough stage, we're gonna be yelling about it, and we're gonna have everyone that we know yelling about it, and we're really going to try and with this app as an example, show people what you can do with this kind of thing, and hopefully people come out and blow us out of the water, right? And that's great. That's kind of what we're hoping to do with it. We're hoping to start something. I know it's been attempted before, but there's no hurt in trying again. What's up?
A couple of things. First of all, in principle, I think it's a terrific project and it has merit, and it's huge and it can get bogged down. That's the reason for it. But I do think it's solvable. Another thing is that I've thought about this before. I haven't been crazy enough to actually jump into it because nobody ever seen me yet. But I think but I have worked with that city database quite a lot and stuff like that. It seems to me that one of the core issues is the taxonomy, as I alluded to before. And I just want to put something on the table. There's a group of databases called graph databases. I haven't actually I've played with them, I've taken courses, I haven't had a chance to work with them. But there are databases that are behind, what do you call those, dating applications. So it's about relationships. So in other words, you can relate one thing to any number of other things that make sense. So you can have a biking app and arbitrarily say this, that, and the other thing also relates to a biking app. And these three counselors support biking apps or whatever. It's quite arbitrary. And it seems to me that it's a way of, and graphs are well understood from a website. You're a mathematician, right? And I gather that the math of graphs is very well understood.
It's called graph theory.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. Really,
it's not just a bunch of dots and lines.
Very good. But I think that would be a way to, that's something to put behind you. And it's a way of sorting that stuff out that might make it more accessible.
So I think the thing that makes what makes it so interesting is that we're not just synthesizing this collection of data from different sources and from different types of things, but we're also able to expand on this, and we're also, once we get something launched, if we are able to get any kind of mind share in any level of Toronto City government, it, at the very least, at the worst case scenario, gets people thinking about making this that more accessible. And I think that no matter what, like anything on that scale is a win. Like even if this project, a couple of years down the road, like somehow falls by the wayside, much to my dismay, it gets people thinking about it, and it gets. If we can, like, at the end of the day, it's like how do you get Toronto as a city, like the actual city staff, people who hopefully can make some kind of change, make decisions, and make things happen. How do you get them thinking about how important this is? John Tory talked about. Well, he actually talked about open data in his campaign. How it's important.
Did he talk about big data?
I'm sure he threw all kinds of nice buzzwords. But I specifically remember one thing where he talked about open data, and it's like. You never really hear about that again, but let's make him hear about that again. Let's actually get this out in front of people. And then the other aspect to it is that I'm a developer at a design company. We have design shops here. I'm really, really proud of the designs that we have here, and I feel like, especially if you get them working on this mobile application, which they do a much better job, much higher job, and we can really make something compelling.
Any sort of relationship or background between your app and the Toronto Meeting Management Information System. So I don't use it often. I remember recently.
Yeah.
I've been able to do their presentations, my courses, but yeah, I'm just wondering, like, you're talking about how you can search by counselors and you can see how they voted on everything, and I'm just wondering, with this repository of information, is there interaction? Have you used it before?
So if you look at this URL here, I think this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Sorry, I know it's small. So this is essentially the portal that they have available that represents the whole of their open data initiative for Toronto. And to give you an example of what you're looking at, let's go look at attendance. Okay, who are we going to pick on? Who do we want to look at attendance for? Someone give me a counselor.
Anna.
Talk about Anna? All right, Anna. Let's see what. And I mean, sometimes people have to miss meetings for really legitimate things, so this isn't a totally fair way to judge them. But that's okay.
By the way, some counselors attend for roll call and then split.
That's another thing. So when I first started working on this, I talked to a city hall reporter who's obsessed with stats. He makes a lot of graphs and things. He runs this blog that I picked up by Metro called Ford for Toronto. And that was the first thing he said. He said, attendance is actually not a very cool way of. So you can see she's actually missed some roll calls, which is interesting. But attendance is actually not entirely accurate because people will stay around the roll call and then split. But if you look at, so this is another example of like the way we can take the data that's in front of us and use it in different ways than the city is using it. So even though it's their data, they have a voting record, so they have their attendance that they take, but then they have a voting record.
No vote.
Guess what happens if you aren't there to vote?
No vote.
You don't have a vote.
Very clever.
So there are actually ways to determine like what percentage of a meeting that someone was in, and that's interesting.
But you can opt not to vote, right? Is there a separate code?
There's an abstain. Yeah, you can abstain from the vote as well. Yes. Go ahead.
You talked about the sort of potential and power of this once it's like fully fleshed out. Can you? I mean, for those of us who are like don't know how to translate JSON into potential, like what do you see? What are the apps that you would like to see built on top of this, or what are the apps that you've seen in other places that have inspired you to do this work?
Sorry, real quick, I just realized I didn't fully answer your question.
Okay.
Going to go for 1 sec. What I meant to show you by displaying this is the level of user experience that is involved in using this portal, which is I have to look up each of these counselors individually to get their attendance report. And then if I wanted to cross-reference them for different meetings, I would have to do that 44 times, something like that. Types of apps that I've seen and then things that I want to see happen. So in terms of the JSON API, some of you know what that is, some of you don't know what that is. The reason that it's important is that it's a pretty modern, pretty cross-platform way to get data, and then you can take that data and you can put it into a variety of different things. Whether you're building a native iPhone application, whether you're building like some kind of hybrid mobile application, whether you are building an Apple Watch app, whether you are doing something with a car, it doesn't really matter. Whether you're powering like an LCD display on an Arduino somewhere, it really doesn't matter as long as you have a connection to the internet and you know where you're going to go get your data from. And this API would be just another place to get like all this centralized data into anything, into literally anything that you want.
What's an example of a really powerful anything?
A really powerful anything.
Actually, can I show an example?
That'd be great.
Well, I'm if you've got an example, then I'd
so,
love to hear it. If not,
yeah.
then totally open.
In terms of civic projects, I don't see anything well executed at all. I see apps that you will never get young people to use because they're too cumbersome. They either flat out don't work. They're cumbersome. They're not well designed. They have no imminent or inherent value. Like when people look at them, they're like, okay, why would I spend the 2 megabytes on my data plan to download this app? And will I ever open it again?
Didn't this project start out though with you having an idea for a mobile app that would be consuming that data?
That's exactly it, and that's exactly what I'm building on this.
So what's the idea behind your mobile app? Like who do you imagine is the audience for?
People who are, I mean, the initial, like, to be completely honest, I'll be frank. I want to see more millennials engaged with millennials and even like the younger generation engaged with what's happening in the city. Okay. There are too many people in the city who don't even know who their city councilor is. If the very first thing that I can do with this app as an onboarding process is to say, hey, what's your postal code? Okay, this is your city councilor. That alone, if my app just does that, I would be very happy. Like, at the end of the day, we were talking about this application, and it's very early stages. And it's just an idea. We were doing 50 developers who were young, and actually no, they were spanning all ages, honestly. Like all generations were kind of covered in this group, 50, 60 people, and they were all presenting
But presumably it'd be more interesting, I mean, after that, to find out which of those councillors support bicycling.
Totally. So then you get into taxonomy, right? If we can start collecting user interest data, we can start getting an idea of, maybe you don't care about the admin motions that happen, which a lot of people won't. We can filter those out.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't care about, motions related to zoning. Maybe that really doesn't matter to you at all, and we can filter those out. And that's when you start to get from this massive, ridiculous amount of data down to data that matters to people. In terms of pulling people back in and helping them use the app, you can there's all kinds of different things you can do from that. But if you can scope their interest down enough, then you can pull them back in with notifications about new motions that are being passed. You can pull them back in with information about how their maybe their councilors missed the last 3 city council meetings, something like that. You're not being represented at city council. So lots of different ideas. I know that it's an uphill battle, but I feel like it's an uphill battle